Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? So yesterday I got a comment. Somebody said, every time Peter starts out with hello, 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 and doesn't flip the fan and do his intro, you know it's going to be a very serious video. So today, you know this is going to be a very serious video. And, you know, I said in the video that I did yesterday or the day before that I didn't think that I was going to do any more videos about Robbie Christy. Need to put on a little lip balm before I get into this because I have a lot to say today. Like I said, I didn't think that I was going to do another video about Robbie Christy until she came out and addressed the situation, the allegations that are going on right now. But the reality is, I don't think that Christy is going to come out and address it. So I have lots to say about the fact that Christy is staying silent. And, you know, when I covered the situation with her supporting James Charles last year, Christy didn't come out and she didn't respond to it. She still to this day hasn't. I had a lot of people asking me, like, did Christy ever come out and respond to the James Charles situation? No, Christy has not come out yet a year later and ever responded to following James Charles, liking his pictures. She has stood by the story to me that she had no idea that she knew something was going on with James Charles, but she didn't know that he, you know, was a perpetrator and had done all these videos, you know, apologizing to his victims and things like that. She just didn't know, you know. So that was the first thing with Robbie Christy. And, you know, at that time, I've seen that it's interesting, like, reading about things of people talking about Robbie Christy. The Beauty Guru Reddit has received a lot of traction on the post about Robbie Christy, and when I'm reading through it, it's interesting to see that people are saying that they unsubscribed to Robbie Christy over the James Charles situation last year. And what they say is, it's not that she followed James Charles, it's that she never came out and addressed it. She never spoke to it whatsoever, right? So that was one thing. Now this is another thing, and this is another situation where there are allegations about Robbie Christy, you know, supporting LGBTQ or anti-LGBTQI plus rhetoric, and those are her beliefs now. Allegedly, we don't know because she hasn't come out and spoken about it. Until she does, we won't know, right? And so this is the second thing that she's not addressing, that she's not posting videos, she's hiding out. We'll get to that in just a second. And so for me, it's no longer just one isolated situation that she chooses not to speak on. For me now, it's a pattern of how Christy responds to difficult situations that she gets herself on and based on her belief system. And for me, that's tough for me. I have to start looking at the person then. If this is how you respond to your audience asking you questions, because it's not just Peter Monn, okay? There's a lot of people out there that are making videos about this. There are a lot of her fans are asking questions about this. I can't even tell you in the last year, and especially in the last week, how many people have reached out to me in DMs and said, if I ask Christy a question on her video, or if I ask Christy a question nicely, they've sent me the questions they've asked, or they're asked very nicely, like, hey, Christy, is it true that you support anti-LGBT? And they're blocked immediately, right? So I think that that's important to note, that she's very, very aware of what's going on. Last night, I watched... Well, last night and the day before, I watched 4 really, really well-done videos about this. Cece Suarez did a fantastic video about this that I watched, and then I also watched Mika's Rhetoric, which is fantastic. So Mika, new fan over here, and she did a fantastic video, and she also talked about my video in there as well. They all did. It was really nice. And so I think it's important that we're keeping the story alive until Christy decides to come out and talk about it. Audra Raines did a fantastic video about it, and Hannah Needs to Yell, which several people sent me her video, and I hadn't watched her before, and so I watched her video last night. She did a fantastic job about it, and her video was actually the one that kind of changed my mind, because like I said, I wasn't entirely sure I was going to talk about this again until Christy came out and talked about it. And Hannah's video is titled, and she talks about Cody Cohen here too, Cody Cohen, Robbie Christy, the privilege to stay silent. And I think it's such a fantastic discussion, and I will link all of their videos or all of their channels below so you can go check them out for yourselves. But her conversation, I think, is, and this is where, like I was talking in my video yesterday about, you know, there can never be enough videos about one topic, because whenever I watch different videos, you know, when I was watching the different videos, Audra Raines had a different perspective than Cece Suarez had, than Mika had, than, you know, Hannah had. And so to watch all these different perspectives, it was like from each video I took something completely different. You know, one of the things that Cece Suarez talks heavily about is the spreading of medical misinformation by Robbie D. Christie, something that I rarely ever think about, you know, when I cover her. It's always in my notes, but it's not a focal point for me, you know, because it's not something that, to be honest with you, like, but it's not something that's super personal to me with Christy. But when I read people talking about their issues with Christy, the spreading of medical misinformation is a lot of what they're upset about. It's one of the main reasons why people unfollow Christy, you know? I think the second biggest thing is the fact that she never responded to James Charles. And so each time I watch somebody's video, I gain a new insight into a situation, you know? Sometimes it makes me think in a different way, you know? Also in Cece's video, she talked about how much she loved Christy back in the day. And she used to watch Christy, you know? And she can remember when she hit 1 million views and that she, you know, came out with her video announcing her pregnancy. And Cece said she knew exactly where she was. You know, Chelsea was like, I knew exactly where I was in that moment, you know? I was like, you know, she was in the shower and she had her phone up there and whatever, and she was on a vacation with her husband for the weekend. And it was so interesting hearing her talk about that, because I was like, that was how I was with Christy. I loved Christy too, you know? I think it's the disappointment factor with Christy for me. I think that's the hardest thing, right? If you go back and you watch my videos, I was one of the biggest people rooting for Christy to reach 1 million subscribers. I was probably one of the biggest people that is a drama commentary channel that was talking about it and rooting for her to reach 1 million subscribers, you know? When Shane Dawson did his entire beauty series and was talking about how he wanted to talk to smaller creators, I was like, you need to talk to Robbie D. Christie, you know? And I didn't understand why they wouldn't include her in there, because she was like a completely different voice in the community. You know, Christy was relatable because Christy was like, I think, every other woman out there, and people related to her, you know? And I think that's why people listened to her, you know? And she would do conversational videos where it felt like you were literally just sitting with a friend. That's what people loved about Get Ready's with me back in the day. But she also had a very interesting perspective and an important point of view, because she would see things from, I think, a different point of view, and she would point out things that were wrong, and not just in the beauty industry, but in the world. And that was where she started talking about these unpopular opinions, and she started talking about other kinds of things, right? And so, you know, it's interesting that now this is what's happened to her. Now, I've seen a lot of people online talk about, you know, when the conversation started changing and she started bringing a lot of questions and concerns to her audience and things like that. So in watching these 4 videos in the last 2 days, you know, and especially watching Hannah's video and her talking about Robbie D. Christie staying silent and the privilege to stay silent, you know, and the ability to be able to do that and your fans to make excuses for you, I think that is, you know, I think that's a really, really great, that's a great discussion to have. You know, I do want to make this very, very clear when I'm talking about this, because it's interesting. When I was watching her video, you know, I feel like on many different levels, I'm asked to discuss stuff on a much more personal or a much, I don't know, deeper level sometimes, that I'm demanded to come out and talk about things. And this is not a comparison study between me and Christy. Actually, when I was watching other people in the last couple days, it was like, it's interesting how I've watched these other people come out and they've addressed things that their fans have asked them, you know? I can remember when, after the accident, that people, I was getting tons of DMs from people, I mean, really nasty DMs, I can read them to you to this day, that people were like, you know, like, the police investigation is over, there's no reason why you don't give your audience a response, you need to come out and speak about it. And I started getting all these messages, and that's ultimately why I ended up making my video when I came back. I don't know that I was necessarily ready to come back when I did, but I did feel a responsibility to the people that watch my videos. You know, it's why I put out messages to people and let them know that I was okay, you know, via other people or myself. Because I didn't want my audience to worry. I didn't want them to, you know, have any, to just be out there wondering, where's Peter, you know? And so even in healing from that whole process, I was very cognizant of what my audience was asking for. And there were a lot of people that were asking in a really, really nice way. I mean, you know, there's been so many situations in my life that I've gone through, you know, that my audience on all of my channels has just been unbelievably kind. It's one of the things that I always say that surprised me the most about YouTube, right? Is that I never expected that. I never expected to build a community of people that would be so supportive of me, the kindness of strangers that I would never meet in my entire life, right? And so I do feel that there's a certain obligation, not to speak about everything, okay, but about big issues that your audience is asking you questions for. And if Christy is blocking these people, then she's very, very aware of it. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about her staying silent as a pattern of behavior for Christy, okay? This is not a one and done. People can't just say anymore, well, what she did with James Charles. This is now two things. So what we can expect from Christy is that going forward, anytime her audience demands an answer from her or asks her a situation to know whether or not they can continue to support her, she's just going to stay silent on what she wants to stay silent on, okay? So if it's the big issue stuff. Now, I have a lot of notes that I want to get into, and before I do, I just want to say I very purposely wore this t-shirt today. This t-shirt means a lot to me, okay? And the t-shirt is two men kissing, and it says, "Read my lips." And this t-shirt was a t-shirt from Act Up in the late 80s. And I actually had the original t-shirt that I bought from Act Up in the 80s. I can remember filling out my paperwork and all that kind of stuff to order the t-shirt, you know, through the mail and things like that. And I had I got rid of it sometime through the years. But Act Up was an organization to support men with AIDS. And their motto was, "Read our lips, that silence equals death." And Keith Haring, the artist, did a lot of the artwork for Act Up and things like that. This t-shirt means a lot to me because I think that it represents a time in this country that was pivotal in the discussion, the oppression of gay men in our country that are just one part of the LGBTQI plus community of which we're talking about. And so I wrote some notes about this, and I want to share with you guys what I read last night. I'm wearing this t-shirt today while I discuss Robbie D. Christie's supposed belief and support of anti-LGBTQ rhetoric, because I came out at a time where the public rhetoric was that gay men were getting AIDS because they deserved it. It was those beliefs that systematically oppressed gay men for 3 decades based on fear and fear alone. Also, religious organizations persecuted, and some are still persecuting, members of the LGBTQIA plus community based solely on fear. I believed in my heart that things had changed, but apparently that's not the case. At least not with some people. Fear is at the root of power to push misinformation and hate towards an ideology that just is not true. When we look at how people have tried to take down the LGBTQI plus community, they have used 5 mediums: health, spiritual belief, safety, children, and family. The 5 things most people hold dearest to their hearts. If people can prove that the LGBTQI plus communities are attacking these sacred things, then they have done their job in proving that we, who simply want to live our lives, are dangerous. And that's why this is so important for me to make this video today. Because this isn't just about Christy has a right to believe in what she believes, you know? A couple days ago when I responded to it, people were like, oh, if Christy wants to believe this, let her believe it. Well, that also goes the same way with them. People should just leave us alone with what we believe in, right? You can't take that statement and apply it to Christy and not apply it to what her beliefs are. The problem is, and the more I looked at it and the more I watched these videos and people said other things and the comments that I received on my video, what I realized was that there was a lot of truth in what people were commenting on and what people were saying in their videos and what people were commenting on in my own videos, right? That if it is true that Christy is a belief of the system, so I'm not going to get into a long story, you can please go back and watch my other videos that I did about this, but what it is that Christy is going to homeschool her child in this school system that is anti-LGBTQIA+. Their motto is, don't mess with our kids, okay? And that there are pictures taken with her kid wearing a t-shirt, and she liked these pictures. The organizations, like, I think their social media has been taken down now. Christy's pictures have been taken down that she was liking. So she's obviously very, very aware that this is going on and that people are bringing it to her. There are a few comments on her videos, but not many. She's deleting comments rampantly. I have personally witnessed comments being on her video that I'll go back and look for, and they're not there anymore. And I was purposely doing that because people were telling me that she was deleting comments, and they were not nasty comments. They were comments that were just like, Christy, I really hope that this isn't true, that you're not anti-LGBTQI+, because I just can't support you if you are. That really makes me sad. And then that comment, like 2 hours later, would be gone. So she's very, very aware of this, okay? She's talked about moving her sister onto her property, and that she's building a house for her sister, and that they are also there. She hasn't come out and said this, but it's alleged because the school is moving, that she's also building a school on her property, or that she's going to house the school on her property, okay? Or have the school at her property. So what's interesting about this is that this school is not just like a school of like 10, it's not just like 5 or 10 people that are involved with it. It's actually a part of a bigger bigger organization, right? A part of a bigger organization whose ideology and beliefs are completely anti-LGBT, okay? And so when you look at that, those people are not only, these are people that are very, very worried about LGBT rhetoric being within their school systems, but they're a school system that is spreading anti-LGBT misinformation, okay? And the same kind of misinformation that, the political people are saying that we are immigrating people from Mexico so that they can turn our kids trans in the school system. These are the things that are really being said out there. And when people want to say that that's not true, please go Google that, search that stuff, and you go look it out yourself, okay? So Christy has now aligned herself with this organization that is 100% anti-trans, okay, anti-LGBT. They've made a lot of statements that are anti-LGBT. And the whole ideology is, as moms together, we're going to protect our kids, okay? And this is what's really scary about this situation, is that what mom wouldn't want to protect her kid at any expense, period, right? I mean, from anything. So when you're putting that statement out there first, and this is what I was saying, that the whole idea of taking down LGBT people in my history of being alive and the history before that was to attack 4 things or 5 things, right? Okay. And that is health, okay, that was the AIDS crisis, spiritual belief, that's religion, children, and children and family, and what was my other one that I put up here now that I can't remember? Children, family, and safety, okay? So the safety part goes into, they're trying to, come for you, they're trying to recruit you and things like that. And so it's all those things that people hold so sacred to their heart that if you take all those things away, what really do you have? If you don't have children, if you don't have, a lot of people don't have children, but if you don't have, I'm talking about grandchildren, nephews, nieces, neighbors, things like that. If children are at risk of LGBT people, your safety is at risk. If your health is at risk because you might get AIDS, if your family is at risk and your spiritual beliefs are at risk because we're trying to take away your religiosity or your spiritual beliefs or your right to freedom of religion, then we're coming for everything that means something to you, right? So the ideology to stand behind a school system that says don't mess with our kids, okay, implies that we are trying to mess with their kids. This is so dangerous and so scary on a level because there are people that are believing this and people are voting that way to believe that, okay? And that they're setting up systems in place to come for us. Not to mention, if you felt that somebody was violating your safety or your child's safety, would you not act out to protect that? We live in that world today where people, I think, a lot of times ask that, which is why we're seeing a lot of violent crimes. And actually, it's increasing, not decreasing, towards the LGBTQIA plus community, okay? I don't think it's a mistake that when you see this rhetoric going out there and it's rampantly increasing, okay, that the deaths of trans women of color are increasing as well, that people are terrified of trans women of color, many of which are sex workers living on the street, trying to mind their own business and pay their own bills because they have no other way to get jobs. I've watched the documentaries, I've read the books, I know this is facts, okay? Not all, but some, all right? That's why it's important that we have people like Laverne Cox out there, Sasha Colby that won RuPaul's Drag Race and won Miss Continentals, pageants and things like that, that we see these people out there, okay? It's so important that they exist so that other trans women and trans men can see that they can have lives too. It's why it was important for me that when I came out at 18 years old, I had gay men before me, okay, that were friends of mine, that never overstepped their boundaries, that allowed me to see that there was a life that I could have, that it was possible, that I could have a job, that I could have a life, that I didn't have to drink myself into some, crazy state of mind, that I didn't have to do drugs in a crazy state of mind, that met me where I was at, that were good role models for me. I didn't have that when I was growing up. I would stand in a Walden Books or a B. Dalton Books, at 12 years old, having these feelings inside that I had a crush, on a kid at school, and I didn't know what to do, and I would go to the, 12 or 14 years old to the gay section at the bookstore, and it would be all sexually oriented books, like the Kama Sutra of gay sex, and that immediately made me feel dirty about myself. Today we live in a world where there are literally thousands upon thousands of fantastic young adult own voices books, okay? The problem is that people that don't understand all the differences between gender and sexuality, all the different ideologies of sexuality, they want to compare a gay man to somebody that's asexual when there's gay men that can be asexual, but they're not comparable, right? Or they want to compare somebody that's trans and say trans people and lesbians are trying to ruin our kid when one's a gender identification and one's a sexuality, right? They don't even understand what they're talking about. The rhetoric is we just have to get rid of these people because if we don't, then we can't. So it's really not even about the kids. It's about spreading the misinformation. And I think as somebody that is watching these people putting money in their pockets, and I'm explaining to you how that happens, I think us as viewers, you as audience members and consumers, and the organizations and the businesses that are doing collaborations, paying them a lot of money, like HelloFresh with Robbie D. Christy, I think that they have a right to know that. You know, I also have a right to know that if sponsorships are going to continue to support Robbie D. Christy, then that's probably maybe not the company that I want to support, you know? And I'm going to explain that to you in a second. And they have every right to continue to do sponsorships with her. And I have every right to say that's not an organization that I'm going to support, you know? So I wanted to get a little bit more into my notes. So where is Robbie D. Christy now? You know, it's interesting because I looked, she'll probably post a video today when I put this up, but she hasn't posted a video in 3 weeks. That's unlike her. She usually posts every week or every 2 weeks. She hasn't posted any posts on Instagram either, which is interesting. And the last post that I think she posted on her Zach and Christy Instagram was like 2 weeks ago. The last video they posted was like 2 weeks ago. She's posted a few times on her Instagram story, but one of the things you have to remember about the Instagram story, right, is that nobody can comment on it. So she's not posting places that people can comment on. She's not posting new videos. She's not posting Instagram posts because she can easily, like if she puts up another post, she knows she's going to get flooded with people saying this. So then she's going to have to spend her whole day, okay, micromanaging her Instagram account, her YouTube channels, and whatever. So for her to post means that she's going to have to manage these things. So it's easier for her just to not post. And this is exactly what she did with the James Charles situation. This is exactly what she did the same last time. And then she came down, and this is why I made my joke in my first video that I did about this. She came back with a mocha latte video. This is my mocha latte video, okay? And my glam mocha latte look. And people thought she was going to address it, and she didn't. And the next video, people thought she was going to address it. And in the next video, she actually made a joke about it. And she has been making jokes about it in the last year, okay? So for me, Robbie D. Christy is no better than somebody that has thrown up the James Charles birthday cake and you did it at my birthday dinner, okay? Because she's made jokes about it in the last year. The fact that she was called out for her support of James Charles. So in 6 months to a year, when the dust is cleared and Robbie D. Christy feels like she can come out and make a joke about supporting anti-LGBTQ, QIA plus rhetoric, is it going to be okay for her to joke about it? And then her audience will eat it up? Because I've seen audience members of her be like, oh, Christy, you're so funny. Nobody should have ever called you out. I actually saw a comment on one of her videos that said that Robbie D. Christy should sue me. Sue me for what? Telling the truth? I wish she'd get me in a court of law. I wish Robbie D. Christy would sue me. Sue me, Christy. Let me bring all the evidence that I have and all the other people that have made videos, okay? Please, Christy, put me in a court of law, okay? For saying that you allegedly have followed these. And then, you know what? And then in a court of law, we'll actually get your real word. Because you won't come out and speak about it otherwise. So when your audience members are begging you to sue me, please, Christy, sue me. Put me in a court of law, okay? Because I got great-ass attorneys. I've had them for years, all right? So when you put me in a court of law, this will come out, okay? And we will bring out the pictures. And we will bring out the support that you've done. And we will you know, ask people if you're building a school on their property and how much money you've donated to that organization. We will ask those questions. And so we will get answers, okay? Since you don't want to come out and you don't want to answer the questions yourself, we'll find the answer. So when your audience members want to say, sue Peter Monn, okay, and call me names in your comment sections, you don't delete those comments. You have no problem with anybody coming for me, okay, and body shaming me and age shaming me and being ageist. You have no issues with people in your comment sections being homophobic, coming for my marriage, somebody did in your comment section, Christy. You have no issue with that, okay? No issue whatsoever, right? Okay, but you delete comments that aren't supportive of you. So yeah, so to that person out there that said sue Peter Monn, please, Christy, sue me. Sue me, okay? We will finally get the answers that we want to know, all right? It never had to be about this, okay? And this is one of the things that is completely baffling to me is that, you know, Christy could have dealt with this James Charles situation a year ago, okay? She could have easily come out and just been like, yeah, I was following James Charles. I didn't really think it's that big of a deal. Now, after watching Peter Monn's video and talking to him on the phone, I realize it's a huge deal, okay? I had a lot going on in my head, and right at that moment, even knowing everything that I knew, James Charles wasn't my focal point. Now that it's been brought to my attention, I realize how problematic my behaviors were. And I can't believe that I liked his pictures. I really, honestly wasn't thinking that much about it. That's understandable. That's believable, right? The silence is so loud to me, right? What it says is, no, I'm not going to come out and answer it. No, I don't have to, okay? Which is, people say that that's right, and that is right. You don't have to talk about anything you don't want to talk about, okay? So, anyway, you know, so where is Robbie D. Christy now? You know, like she hasn't posted on Instagram. She hasn't posted on YouTube, things like that. I don't know, you know. I mean, you know, maybe she's at home painting poster boards for, you know, misinformed propaganda against LGBT. Maybe that's what she's doing. She's at home. I know she likes artwork. You know, I know she likes to, like, you know, paint pictures for her friends' kids' birthday parties. Maybe she's painting poster boards. Don't mess with our kids. You know, maybe that's what she's doing right now. I don't know. Maybe she's, you know, picking up potatoes out of her field, showing pictures of that so she can feed all the kids from that school. I don't know where she's at. And the reality is, none of us will until she comes out and says something, okay? That's the truth right there. And I can guarantee you, Christy ain't going to come out and talk about this. If Christy comes out and talks about this, she could blow me over with a feather, all right? And I will be the first person to get in a video and say, I never in a million years thought Christy would address this. I don't think she will. Because I think this is who Raw Beauty Christy is, okay? And then she'll come out and she'll be like, oh my God, I've been so stressed lately, blah, blah, blah. You're so stressed because of your own actions, okay? Let's not, this is where this all gets turned, okay? I'm so stressed, I've been going through so much stress lately, blah, blah, blah. You're so stressed because of your own, you weren't stressed 2 days ago when you were showing pictures of your potatoes. You weren't stressed 15 hours ago when you posted pictures of your house and your yard. A gorgeous house, by the way. I would love to have that house. I don't have that kind of money, okay? Christy does from all of her years of hard work on YouTube that she's willing apparently to throw away. You know, but anyway, so we don't know where she's at right now, right? But, and none of us know what she thinks about these allegations because she doesn't come out and say anything. If you want to know more about the allegations, I've made 2 previous videos about this, right? And this is what she always does, right? Blocking people for asking questions. She's deleting comments, not making videos, and not making IG posts where people can actually comment. Because she doesn't want anybody to be able to have a conversation on her stuff about all this, right? And all this very much adds up to her being very aware of what is going on, okay? I mean, she knows what's going on. The school is taking down social media. She's deleting pictures that on Facebook. Well, that was actually their picture. They're deleting that picture. So Raw Beauty Christy is calling them up and saying, can you delete this picture where I liked my kid and this t-shirt that says, don't mess with our kids? She's calling them up and asking that, okay? So she's doing a lot of cleanup behind the scenes, you know, and we've seen this time and time again with these people, right? This is James Charles calling every drama channel, asking him what to do. You know, this is Gabby Hanna calling every drama channel, asking them what to do back in the day. Christy already called me last year, okay? Girl, unless you got your paycheck out, okay, to donate to the biggest LGBTQIA plus organization in my name, okay, like $1 million, don't call me. I got no advice for you. My video right here is your free advice, okay? You know, it's all over. Colleen Ballinger working behind the scenes, you know, to discredit Adam McIntyre and the other victims last year when her allegations came out. Here it is again, Christy working behind she can't come out to her audience that she acts like she loves so much, okay? I mean, who do you think is putting money in her pocket to buy this anti-LGBTQI plus school, okay? And buy her sister a house on her property? I mean, Chelsea said this in her video. Cece Suarez said this in her video, you know? She must make a lot of money on YouTube because that's expensive to build houses in schools, okay? So when you're watching a Raw Beauty Christy video or you're following one of her things that's a sponsored video or you're watching one of her videos, you're putting money in her pocket, okay? Which is ultimately paying for anti-LGBTQIA plus school, anti-LGBTQIA plus rhetoric, and building a house for her family on this cultish compound, okay? And that's my opinion on a public figure. So anyway, but like all of it adds up that she's very fully aware. She's just choosing not to come out and speak about it, okay? And this is where people are like, well, if Christy, like, she doesn't have to come out and talk about it. If she doesn't feel the need to come out and talk about it, and she doesn't feel like it's a big deal, why is she working overtime to clean up this mess behind the scenes, right? Like, if it's really not that big of a deal, then there's no need to clean up any mess. But you have to remember that Raw Beauty Christy is somebody that's made multiple commentary videos, okay, talking about other people and their need to come out and talk about things. So she's come out and said that, right? But it's just, it's baffling to me. And like I said in my last video, I don't think Christy wants to come out and talk about it. And other channels talked about this too, because she doesn't want to split her audience, right? Because if she splits her audience and she comes out and she says, no, and like, I feel like every video that I watched in the last 2 days said this, right? So this exact same thing that I said in my last video as well. That if she comes out and she does this and she splits her audience, okay? That's a huge issue of why a lot of people don't want to come out and talk about things, okay? Because if she comes out and she talks about it, then she splits her audience. This is going to stop in a second. Hold on. Okay. And what I mean by that is that if she comes out and she says, okay, well, I am fully supportive of all the LGBTQIA plus colors of the rainbow and on and on and on, people that are very conservative over there are going to be like, because she's, you know, really never said that in a video, even though she's done a video supporting that. We're going to talk about that in just a second. then she's going to lose a lot of those audience, especially over this, because now this is a prominent issue. It's not just like she did a Pride Day look and she said, oh, for Pride Day, I support, you know, the LGBT community. Yay, rah. I mean, everybody does that for Pride Month, right? Okay, it's not just like that. Now, there's been attention to this, and people are watching for this. So she gets in a video, and she addresses it. All the people that are rooting for Christy, that are, you know, conservative Christians, and they believe in all this kind of stuff, and blah, 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 and they're anti-LGBT, they're going to be like, oh, well, I'm not standing behind Christy anymore. And if she comes out and she says, well, no, I am supportive of anti-LGBTQ school systems and things like that, and yes, I am building this school on my property, or we are going to house this school on our property, and things like that, and get over it, this is my belief system, and what I believe is what I believe, okay, then she's going to lose all of her audience that's like, oh, no, I can't support this, right? And she may lose sponsors as well, and she may lose friends in the industry. I actually think she's more concerned about people in the industry than she is about all this kind of stuff. So it's going to affect her money. Well, you know, it's interesting when we want to talk about the money situation, right? Because, you know, I'm in a situation, I have this on here right now. I'm in a situation in my life today where if your money is more important than my human rights, I can't get down with you. I'm sorry, I just can't, okay? And actually, I'm not sorry about that. If your money is more important to you than my human rights, I can't get with you about that. I just can't, right? At all. Okay, so I want to talk about what I had up here. So, you know, I was talking about, we won't know what Christy thinks until she comes out and says this. And I also want to say thank you to all of the educators out there, all the school teachers, all the school administrators that sounded off in my videos. And in fact, I had dinner with a friend of mine this weekend, and she's a school principal, an elementary school teacher. And she doesn't know anything about Robbie D. Christie, but she was asking what video I had made, and I talked about this a little bit. And I said, you know, can you explain, what do you think about this? And she's like, well, it's interesting because that's a huge point of conversation, you know, right now, is that kids are trying to be changed in school systems and whatever. And I said, what's your response to that? And she said, as a school principal, she goes, that I can't even hire teachers enough over the summer to fill my classrooms. I can't even get teachers to work in a public school, okay? She's like, that's my whole summer has been hiring teachers. And she said, then when I get those teachers in, because we don't pay them enough and we don't give them enough benefits, she's like, we can hardly even get kids to pay attention close enough, you know, to put their name on a paper. She's like, that's what we're worried about. She goes, the rest of this stuff, she goes, I don't know where people are coming up with it, and I don't know what classrooms they're in. She's like, but maybe one time in one incident it's happened and somebody recorded it and it blew up. She goes, but in my school, she goes, we're trying to get kids to put their names on papers and show up to school. She's like, it's not really a whole lot deeper than that. She's like, it's hard to even get kids to show up to school, let alone work with their families, you know? So to all you educators out there and all you school teachers out there, I just want to say thank you, okay? And I've said this for years on my channel. Thank you for doing a job that is highly underpaid and underappreciated. That you're literally helping mold the future, okay? By education. Not by trying to mold their minds, but by molding their education, okay? And we need that in our country today. And I'm so grateful for that. And especially in a time where we're talking about violence in our school systems, that a lot of teachers that I know are afraid to show up to school because they don't even know that they're going to come out alive, okay? With school shootings and things like that. And yet we want to dog teachers and talk about teachers are trying to do this and trying to do that. And there were so many teachers that sounded off. They don't even have enough supplies. Public school teachers don't even have enough supplies. It's why every year you see Amazon wish lists for school classrooms go up left and right. Because teachers don't even have enough money for their own supplies. School systems don't have enough money for their own supplies, okay? They don't have enough money for their supplies. They're worried about their safety. They have to deal with the kids and trying to deal with all the different needs, meeting all the different needs of the kids, trying to educate them. And then on top of that, having to deal with the parents on top of that. You know, I did a school practicum for a year, right, as a school social worker in an elementary school. You guys have no idea, okay? You have no idea. I worked with a team of like 8 other social workers. I mean, we were constantly getting referrals from teachers about deal with this, deal with that, deal with this, talking to parents. You know, parents would call all the time. You'd either have parents that called all the time or parents that had no clue what was going on at all, right? Oh, but the educators have enough time that they're trying to turn kids gay and trans. Like, can we seriously step back from this for a moment? And, you know, I made my video the other day, and when I made it, I said, could somebody please show me the documentation, the lesson plans? All right, since people want to spread this misinformation, since Christy's supporting this school, allegedly, since she hasn't come out and spoke about it, we don't know. She wants to support a school, she wants to support a mindset that says that we're trying to change kids in school systems, okay, or that teachers are trying to change kids in school systems, to the point where you have to wear a t-shirt. Your kid has a t-shirt on that says, don't mess with our kids. So you really fully fucking believe, okay, that teachers are in school with their busy lives, that they're trying to make your kid gay or trans. First first of all, the belief system that you can make somebody gay or trans is such fucking bullshit, it pisses me off, okay? And that's part of the stigma that we've been fighting for hundreds of years, that you can make somebody that way, okay? That you're not inherently born that way. It's ridiculous, okay? It's ridiculous that people want to say that. Oh, you can change somebody to think this way, but school teachers don't have enough going on in their own lives, okay? And then having to deal with school systems, they got enough time on there to take Johnny aside to try to, like, coerce Johnny into being trans. Like, are we even, this is ridiculous. And I said in my last video, please send me the lesson plan where it says on Tuesday in 2nd grade, we're teaching anal sex, okay? Or on Thursday, we're going to talk about trans issues to 3rd grade class. Can somebody please send me that lesson plan? Because that's what you're implying, okay? That we're coercing people to be trans, and we're talking about sexual action, sexual behavior in the school system, okay? Which also feeds into the stereotype that sexuality is completely based in sex, okay? It's something that I've had to fight for years and years and years when people want to ask me that are totally ignorant to the fact that I'm in a relationship with my husband, and you would not ask your mother and father, you would not ask your brother and sister, you would not ask your neighbor, okay? How they take it, where they take it, and when they take it. Yet people feel comfortable to ask gay men, are you the catcher or are you the pitcher? Okay, for fucking years I've had to deal with that shit. And so now we're playing this out in the school systems, and people want to ask me why I'm passionate about this. Fuck yeah, I'm passionate about it. It's my life, right? So thank you to all the educators out there. And to Christy, if it is true that you're building a school or endorse a belief system that you've obviously thought about it. This isn't something like James Charles where you can say, I wasn't really thinking about it. If your kid's marching in a parade with a t-shirt on that you put on your kid, and you're liking that picture of the t-shirt that you put on your kid, and you've talked about moving your sister to your property and homing this school, you've obviously thought this through, and their belief systems and their rhetoric. You can't just march your way out of this and go, I didn't know. This isn't a situation like this. This is a pattern of behavior, Christy. Okay? You know, and you're someone that always thinks deeply about these situations. So this is obviously, I mean, you think about everything, you know? You sneeze and you're Google searching Google searching all the med or whatever it's called, med web or whatever, what symptoms of a sneeze, what could it mean? I mean, you're that person, girl. You proved that in the last couple years. Don't tell me that if you weren't going to educate your kid in a school system and fully support that school system, that you weren't reading every article about it online. You fully know what this school system supports. 100%. You've shown that in your own videos. So you cannot come out and say that you do not know what this school supports or what it submits, you know? And I was thinking about my friend Tanya last night, and Tanya always says to me, you know, that the road narrows as you get older. You know, in my personal life, I do not align myself with people whose ideologies are adversely different or opposing to mine, especially those which could jeopardize my rights. We live in a world right now, okay? You know, and I said this in my last video, and there were like 2 or 3 comments, and people were like, Peter, what are you talking about? That's ridiculous. Go read the articles. I have. It's scary times in there, okay? It's scary times right now in our country, okay? There's a lot of different reasons why it's scary times. But I've read the articles and I know, okay? Gay men and gay women and lesbians in this country are terrified, okay? And this is the least of all of it, are terrified for our marriage rights, okay? Being repealed, being taken away. What will that mean? If I was married in Indiana state changes, this goes state by state. Will my marriage be legal? Will my husband and I have any rights together? And when you read the articles, please read the parts where it doesn't just talk about filing taxes together and having financial benefits together. Please also read the articles where it takes us back to 1950 again, okay? Where if my husband is hospitalized or if I'm hospitalized, like after the car accident, that my husband was there every single day, okay? Hours, trying to work, trying to take care of the home and the dogs at the same time. All right, well, I was unconscious. That my husband might not be able to be allowed into that hospital room a year from now. Yes, this is very scary rhetoric to me, and it should be to you too. When these same kind of ideologies and beliefs are trying to take women's rights away to vote, and somebody said that that was an ignorant statement. Go read the articles. I have. Okay? Please go read the articles. Go read what they're trying to reverse and what they're trying to take back. And that Christy believing in the school is 100% supportive of those ideologies, okay? It's not just about, oh, Christy has a right to believe what she has to believe. Christy's belief system, if this is true, her aligning with this is completely adversely against my belief systems, and I will not support somebody that wants to come out and say that they 100%, say it with your full chest, Christy, say it, okay? And I won't have to make any more videos, because I'll make one response video to that to say I'm done with you, okay? And that makes me sad for you. And it makes me sad that this is how you choose to live your life. But you know what? More power to you. You can believe what you want to believe. You know? You can believe what you want to believe, but I don't have to support you for it. You know? And so I don't support people that their belief systems, especially when it comes to, well, my money, fuck your money, okay? Fuck your money, because human rights, you know, like, are more important than your money. And if people don't want, it's, you know why people can stand by it there and say that? Because their human rights are at risk. When you're somebody in this country that your human rights are at risk, then you start giving a little bit more shit about your human rights than you do about your fucking money, okay? And when people are like, oh, well, fiscally this, fuck your fiscally this, okay? When you're somebody in this country, okay, I'm not only gay, I'm in a biracial relationship with an immigrant from another country, all right? Let's just lay that out for you real quick, all right? Think about how terrifying this world is to me and my husband right now. Think about that, all right? It's unbelievable to me that people can just turn a blind eye to this, you know? I do have a right to know, as a consumer of someone endorsing products, if I'm going to put money in their pockets or not. I 100% have a right to know their belief system. You know? I'm telling you right now, if Judy Smith out there was an influencer that I supported and tomorrow she was liking pictures of her kids being at a KKK rally, I sure as shit wouldn't be supporting that person anymore. Period, end of story. At all. Okay? I wouldn't even need her to come out and speak on it if you want to know the truth, because that'd be a blatant statement to me. I almost don't even understand what that's, you know what? I don't even know why I need a statement for Christy. I think she's already made her statement, if you want to know the truth. You know? We have a right to know. Okay? We're actually giving Christy the benefit of the doubt by asking her to come out and speak about it. When people want to say, oh, you're demanding it. No, we're giving her the benefit of the doubt. Period. End of story. Okay? We're giving her time to come out and get her story straight and put them together so she can come out and save her career. If it were any other situation like this, are you kidding me? We wouldn't be giving her the benefit of the doubt. She'd have done been canceled, okay? She has got so many gay people that are supporting her, right? Christy has made money off the LGBTQI plus community, right? She did this video. Hold on a second. I got it pulled up for you right here. Just screenshot it. She did 2 videos, okay? She did a review of Manny MUA's Life of Drag palette. And then she did this video right here called I Tried Recreating Manny MUA's Lunar Beauty Life's of Drag Facelet palette. Look, it's right here, okay? In that video, she said this palette was made for drag queens, okay? She says that. I watched it. It's in the first minute of the video. Go watch it, okay? She says this palette was inspired by drag queens. Who's drag queens, girl? You're drag queens? Are you talking about the same drag queens that are trying to mess with your kids? Those drag queens? Is that the drag queens you're talking about, girl? Okay, because 2 years ago, you didn't have a problem doing that video. Oh, you didn't have a problem getting a HelloFresh sponsorship off that video. You didn't have a problem pandering to the LGBTQIA plus community 2 years ago, Christy, okay? When you sure as fuck didn't know about James Charles being a predator, okay? And Manny MUA being one of James Charles' best friends and supporting James Charles, you didn't have a problem getting in a video and doing a fucking HelloFresh Pop sponsorship, getting paid a shit ton of money to support that school that you're now putting on your property, allegedly, under this belief system, talking about drag queens in your videos, okay? You don't have a problem with that? You don't think HelloFresh, Manny MUA, the LGBTQI plus community, and drag queens out there have a right to know when you made a full video pandering to that? Hold on a second, okay? Let's look at this video for a second. This video has 224,000 views. Girl, how much money did you make off that video? Plus your HelloFresh thing in there. Plus you call out your own collab and link it. Girl, this could easily be a $10,000 or $20,000 video, okay? With all of that. Maybe even more with that sponsorship. And people don't think that they have a right to know what you support and what you don't support? Are you kidding me? Period. End of story. Everybody has a right to know. HelloFresh has a right to know. I have a right to know as a consumer. People that might further sponsor you down the road have a right to know. And I'm not somebody that calls sponsorship. I said this. I will never call a company. I will never do that. And I don't listen. And I don't think anybody else should either. I don't think it's your place to do that. Okay? To call somebody and take their money away from them. I don't think that's your place to do that. But if I were a company that was going to do a sponsorship with Christy, and then later, a month down the road, people were like, this has happened, okay? And they said, oh, you support somebody out there that's this. I mean, I'd be like, what the fuck did I just get myself into? I didn't know this. This is why sponsorships need to do their education, right? It's not my place, and it's not your place to report that. I don't believe that, okay? But I do think it's an issue. You know, that she wants to sit here and come out with it. She doesn't think that she owes anybody an answer. Well, you came out and did a full video. using the gay community, using drag queens, using a gay man's palette. You didn't have an issue then of pandering to the gay community at all, doing a sponsorship and shouting out your own palette. So I think that maybe those people that you were pandering to in that video, maybe we deserve an answer, don't you think? Maybe not. I don't think you probably do, because we won't get that, you know? To those people that say it's her right to believe what she wants to believe and leave her alone, I think that's actually a really simple excuse. I mean, I think it's simple. She has every right to believe what she wants, but if she's going to like pictures and talk about building a school on her property, and if her audience asks questions, don't they have a right to know as well? I mean, I've just proven to you. She's used the LGBTQI plus community. She's used us. And now is part of an organization that's fighting against us, right? And influencers of all sizes have had allegations that they've been asked to address in the past, and they've had to come out and address them, fearing cancellation, and even some of them said they were canceled. I don't believe that they were, because they have thriving careers today, but why is Christy any different? Why do all these people, we demanded that they come out and talk about it, and they did come out and talk about it, but Christy doesn't have to talk about it? This is now two serious situations with Christy of how she aligns her belief systems, okay? And people don't think that she needs to. I don't understand why Christy gets a free pass on this as an influencer that's making a lot of money and getting sponsorships. If this was anybody else, I'm telling you right now, if this was not Raw Beauty Christy, if this was anybody else right now, I mean, this would be huge. This would be huge. It's the fact that Raw Beauty Christy isn't of that size and wasn't, and has laid low through the years, that people really don't care, you know? And that the tripod fell. And also the fact that she is so relatable. You know, a lot of these beauty influencers aren't that relatable when they're flying around in private jets and doing this and doing that. PJs, as she refers to them, because she was so bitter that Jeffree Star had a PJ. You know, and so she is relatable, you know, because she's just like everybody else. So that's what's, you know, kind of helped her fly through the radar under the years, you know? I don't know, but anyway, I don't get why she gets this free pass from people, why they say that she doesn't need to come out and talk about it. You know, that being said, unless she comes out and addresses it, we'll never know, you know? We'll never know. And that's on her to put that out there or not put that out there. You know, I was somebody that loved Christy. When she didn't speak about James Charles, I really didn't understand why. You know, she's been pretty vocal about situations like that in past. She has. Go back and watch her videos. She's talked about Colleen Ballinger. She's talked about the 8-passenger situation. She's done entire videos that she's made a lot of money off of where she's talked about these things, right? It would have been easy for her, like I said, to come out and address it. And I don't know, unless she was afraid of industry backlash from other people that supported James Charles, unless she was afraid of not getting sponsorships, unless she was afraid of splitting her audience. And all of that goes back to money. And when your money is more important than somebody's human rights, I'm sorry, I just can't get behind you. I just can't at all, you know? And so here it is again, another situation with money. And it takes a lot of money to add homes to your property for your family and to build schools. That takes a lot of money, you know? It takes a lot of money. But like I said, I'm just not at a point where I can justify, you know, somebody's financial situation over their belief systems. I just can't, you know? And in looking at all this, it reminded me of this quote that my mom loved about Eleanor Roosevelt, you know? And the quote is, "Where, after all, do universal human rights begin? In small places, close to home, so close and so small that they cannot be seen on any maps of the world. Such are the places where every man, woman, and child seeks equal justice, equal opportunity, and dignity without discrimination. Unless these rights have meaning there, they have little meaning anywhere." And I think what makes me the saddest about that is Christy has been somebody that I have looked up to through the years, and, you know, I love the idea of her, you know, building this home that she loves and things like that, and I'm into coziness and homes and whatever, and this idea of human rights really does start in the home, you know? The way that I view the world and the way that I look at the world are things that directly I got from my mother and father. I believe that belief systems are taught. They are not inherently given to us. I believe that they are taught, you know? And hate rhetoric is taught. I too was raised, and I shared this in my last video, by a mother of very strong faith. And she taught me that to be a woman of God meant to love as you would love anyone else, not to spread hate. And I'm incredibly thankful for that. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.